Your side are at it on their game, that they're a match for any team in the Premier League?
I think we've had to be at it for 3 years to get the results that we've got, and we have all season. So that's been the challenge, and that's been the standard that the players have set. But they've got to reach those standards if they're going to get anything from any football match in this division.
You've got the joint best defensive record in the Premier League. I think you've said that 4 of the 7 goals that you've conceded this season have almost been self-inflicted. So what does that say about the collective effort of the team defensively?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite interesting that we are maybe now labelled as a defensive-minded team, and I've got to say I don't really see that in my team. I think we're quite well. We try to be as balanced as possible. You know, all our recruitment in the summer was at the top of the pitch, because we recognised that obviously to gain points at any level you've got to score goals, and we feel we have. And I do believe we're still trying to create chances and play our own way, even though obviously the standard that we're playing at now is a huge leap from what we were last year. But they've just got a general pride. We have as a staff to be organised and stick the bodies on the line and keep the ball out the back of the net. Simple. You know, there's times where obviously the shape and the organisation come into play, but there's just times where it's general, you know, desire and decent defending, which is, I mean, we know we're going to have to be good at because of the opposition and as always the quality at the top of the pitch for every team that we play against in this division. You know, the sort of, there's obviously really good players right away round the division and in different positions, but usually where all the money's spent and where the world class players are, they're usually at the top of the pitch. So yeah, whether it's a togetherness from the front to the back, whether it's set plays, or whether it's just an individual desire to keep the ball out the back of the net, and then obviously they've got to get past the goalkeeper, who's, as I said, who's doing well for us at the moment.
There was a lot of talk before the start of the season and even up to this point about the overlapping central defenders, and a lot of people said, oh, they'll get exposed in the Premier League if they leave gaps. Is it pleasing for you to see that these lads are showing actually it's all about clean sheets and defending first and foremost, and they can do the other stuff as well?
Yeah, in possession we've looked at it, and at times we need to be better in terms of from back to front and right the way through the team. But as I said, we're up against some really good athletes and some technically and tactically really good players as well. So, but you know, in terms of the shape, this is how we play, and if we have an opportunity to go forward and commit, we will do. But yeah, again, you know, as I said, the standard of the opposition is obviously a level above what we've been playing at. So concentration levels, you know, as I said, organisation and just a general desire. But yeah, we still want to go and score. I don't see us as a defensively minded team. I don't see us as a counter-attacking team. I see us just defending well when we have to, and trying to go forward and attack as well as we possibly can when the opportunity opens up for us.
You're in the top half of the table. Can you stay there, or is the message to not get carried away?
I was watching the game back yesterday, and I think if we'd have got, you know, people talking on the box and saying if we'd got beat, we'd have been a point above the relegation places. So that's how it's going to be right the way through the season. You win a game, you jump up some places. If you lose, obviously there's some teams below that you can catch you. So just head down and on to the next challenge.
It is the first league meeting between the two sides since the Carlos Tevez affair. Does that add a bit of extra spice to this game, if not for the players, for the fans?
I think it does. I mean, there's a lot of water gone under the bridge since. It's a long time ago, and I've always got, you know, a big admiration for West Ham, the way they've gone about it in the past. I think they're a very similar club to Sheffield United, a working class club. You know, East End of London, and you know, supporters want them to see see them play good football. We want them to work hard, and I didn't, in terms of what happened at the time, it was nothing really to do with players, and nothing really to do with supporters. It was an administration situation that got decided by the Premier League at the time. So, and obviously off the back of that, it's been with social media as well, back and forth, and banter and bits and pieces flying about. But we've played them once already. It's a new group of players from our point of view, myself, and obviously a lot's happened at West Ham since then, and we're just going to enjoy going to the is it called the Olympic Stadium now still, or London Stadium, Olympic Stadium. So going down there and see if we can keep intact our great away record that we're very proud of so far. But we, of course, West Ham got a fantastic home record, and it's going to be a tough place to go. To Man United over and pick up their points there, and it's going to be tough ask, and I think made even tougher off the fact that I'm sure there's going to be a reaction from a disappointing result at Everton on the weekend.
Chris, first of all, any fresh injury concerns for the weekend?
No, fortunately we came through, as I said, a tough evening. We covered a lot of distance. We had to. I think what we look at as well, especially at this level, is obviously the intensity of the game, but concentration levels as well from a mental point of view, from mentality point of view. Everybody having to do the jobs right the way through to 95 minutes. So there's a lot of tired bodies and tired minds out there on Monday night, but a couple of days rest and back into work today and getting set for West Ham at the weekend.
Could you, if you wanted to, stick with the similar group of players? Because there's 8 obviously players that have played and started every game in the Premier League. Could you stick with those same 8 all season if you wanted to?
Well, we could do, yeah, if we felt that was the right thing to do. But assembled a squad if we need to change it round, and sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is to change a winning side, but sometimes that's the right thing to do as well. So I've got to look at the players, and of course they will look for continuity, and some people will think that's the right thing to do, but I don't think it always is. We have to pick the right side for every individual game, and if it means us changing it around, we have the ability to do that. We've got, as it's been recognised, a real tight group of players that drive each other on day in, day out, and want the best for themselves, but for the group, most importantly. So that changing room on Monday night was not just filled with players that played a part in the game. The 11, the freak that came on. There's players there that are disappointed not to get onto the pitch and not to get into the squad, but they know they've got an important part to play. As always, I've talked about it long and hard over the last 2 or 3 years, and right the way through, myself being a manager, the importance of the group. And when ready, they will come in. Lees came in on Monday night, and that was great for him because he'd been banging on the door. Gave him a goal drink, and there's some disappointed players which they accept. But we're still 9 games into a 38 game season, so still a lot of football to be played. And if there's changes to be made, we have to be brave. Have to be brave enough to make them if I feel it's necessary.
Have you had many knocking on the door a lot? I know you mentioned Billy in a post-match interview earlier in the week, but is that the toughest part of what you've got to do this season in managing the players that aren't in the first team?
It always is. I think every manager will talk about it, keeping players that are not playing happy and keeping them interested and making sure they're ready. And that's just part and parcel, whatever level you're at. So it's the toughest thing, because the players that are playing takes care of itself really, because they're the ones that have got the ability and opportunity to put performance in.
Had a few notable results now against some good teams. Do you feel that the team's going to have to raise its level again now that people are starting to take notice a little bit more of what you're doing?
I don't go along with that. I think they've always taken notice. I think the modern day game with video analysis and just I don't think teams in the Premier League don't take notice of football in general. I think we all do. I remember a story. I think Chelsea played a team in the FA Cup, and Jose Mourinho, I think, is an all-time unbelievable manager, one of the greatest, and they gave a document to the opposition afterwards and showed them how much work that they did and prepped. So I think if you love the game and you want to be a success, you know everything about every team, and I would think right the way down as well. And Premier League managers and football clubs will have known exactly what we did in the Championship last year, and would have been doing their analysis long time ago, and getting the message over to the players. Whether the players take notice of that, obviously that's another thing. But you know, in terms of the analysis and the insight and the information given, so I don't think we're a surprise. As other teams that we're playing are not a surprise to us.
How much better can this group get? You've talked a lot about a number of players that have really risen their game already. Do you feel that they can continue to grow and develop and improve even more?
Well, that's got to be the challenge for us as a staff and for the players. You know, just off the back of one performance against Arsenal and the result doesn't automatically, you know, represent that we've landed in the Premier League. And I'm no more than anybody that won't be the message to the players. You know, the ones that we have to look at are the players that, you know, week in, week out, season in, season out, ply their trade at this level and improve. And you know, in the past, there's examples of players that have come out of the Championship. We keep talking about it. Jags was a great one. Did great for Sheffield United in the Championship. Everton bought him, purchased him, and he raised his game and ended up captaining England. Now, I'm not saying any of my players are going to do that, but it's just an example of what can happen. A boy who comes into Sheffield United as a kid and ends up playing for his country, so they all have to. And as I said, we've certainly not landed at all, and the players know that. I won't even have to say that to them today. You know, we're not getting carried away with anything. We've had a great night for us as a football club, for the players to play in that environment and under the scrutiny and up against world class players and a team obviously, you know, trying to be successful and get into the top four this year. But you know, it's my pet hate that in terms of attitude that you know, we become a spite team that, you know, all of a sudden, just because it's a Monday night, this is the big one, the big test now is what happens on Saturday, because as I said, we got some good things, some nice things said about us on Monday night, but you know, I've got to get the balance right, and they have as well, between taking the confidence and belief out of a good performance, and then going again, and that's the key, game in, game out, season in, season out, and they end up doing that, and they look back at their career, they can be very proud of what they've achieved. But nobody's done anything at this football club by winning one game of football.
West Ham this weekend had a couple of defeats in a row. Are you expecting some kind of backlash from their perspective?
I think any team any player that's got anything about them, any team, any club that's got anything about them, will obviously show a reaction. As I said, I don't think the game changes at all. The game doesn't change whatever level you're at. If you get beat, you wanna show what you're about, and we've been beaten, obviously, you know, a few times, and it's the reaction to how that is, and their team, you know, is full of quality, you know, in every department. So it's as I said, Premier League is as tough as it gets for us on Saturday, because of whether it's their bad result and maybe a disappointing performance, and us making sure that we go again and stick to the levels that we've shown so far, especially away from home.
Do you expect West Ham to be one of those teams sort of knocking on the door of the top six come the end of the season? Yeah.
They're one of those teams in that bracket. I think that would be the expectation from the manager, the players, and the football club and the supporters, that, you know, established Premier League team. And when you're when you're in that position, you've got to always keep looking ahead and looking what's above you and trying to climb into that next bracket. And West Ham, I should imagine, Bill, will definitely have ambitions and ideas to climb into the top 6.
Is it worth reminding people and checking expectation that their star striker that they bought in the summer is still worth more than your entire squad?
Yeah, well, whatever, price tags are put on players, and these are things that we have to get on with. Said established Premier League club. Great support and big attendance on Saturday. So it's another one that we're really looking forward to, regardless of price tags that anybody's paid. It's Premier League football. You've got to expect and accept that there's teams out there that have got wealth and got power to purchase these types of players, and obviously West Ham are one of those.
Finally, for me, Chris, it is very tight in the Premier League at the moment. Do you foresee that continuing for this season, or do you see the league still settling down? Every
point is so precious, and you see it, at the end of the game, the sort of the elation when teams win a game of football, and even the elation when they get something from a game. And I think once you get in it, you understand why, because of the amount of pressure, the intensity, and how much players, managers, coaching staff, boards, owners and supporters want to be part of this division. So from our point of view, every point is so precious. Thought the point of Watford was good, and we even had some people think that we should be going there and winning that game comfortably, and I don't see that. The week after they go to Tottenham and get pegged back at the death, and I think that's just the nature of the league. You've seen it so far. Some topsy-turvy results, some coupon busters right out there, and I think I think that'll be the nature of the league right the way through.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Ads.